Bugungi darsimizda siz bilan Cambridge 10-kitobimizning Test 1 Passage to analizini ko'rib chiqamiz va birinchi navbatda bizdan nima kutilayotganligini tushunib olish maqsadida titleni ko'rib chiqishimiz kerak. Va bu qismni o'zi ko'rganingizda European Transport System this years degan qismda Yevropa transport sistemasi haqidagi tekstni o'qishimiz kerak bo'lar ekan va undan keyin esa savol turlariga qarab olishimiz va bizdan qanaqa skilllar ishlatilishi kutilayotganligini ko'rishimiz kerak. Bu qismda o'zi ko'rganingizda correct number demak bu qismda list of headings va e'tibor bering, bu qismda paragraf F ni javoblari sizga berilgan va bu 7 va demak bu sizga kerak emas degani 7 ni o'chirib tashlagan bo'ladi. Bizga foydasi bo'lmaydi buni. Undan keyin esa bunga qo'shimcha ravishda qanaqa savol turlari kelganligini ko'rib olishimiz kerak. Masalan, bu qismda turib o'tgan savollar kelgan ekan. Oldingi videolarimizni aytib o'tganimizdek, masalan, headingni bajarganimizda, heading bilan birgalikda, masalan, headingni bajarganimizcha butun tekstni bir marta o'qib chiqishimizga imkoniyatimiz bo'ladi. Bir marta o'qib chiqamiz hamma narsani. Shuning uchun ham bu qismda nima qilish kerak? Bu qismda agar true false degan savollarni o'qib olishingiz kerak, hech bo'lmasa bittasini yoki ikkitasini. Chunki ular tartibda keladi. Masalan, birinchi 22-savol 23-24-savoldan oldin keladi doim va 22-savolni keywordlarni topib qo'ysangiz va 22-savolga javobni qaysi paragrafda, masalan, paragraf D bo'lishi mumkin. Qaysi paragrafda kelganini ko'rib qolsangiz, birdaniga masalan paragraf D, E, F dan javoblarni bemalol topib olishingiz mumkin. Bu nimaga bu bizga kerak? Masalan, tasavvur qiling, siz agar buni qilmasangiz, paragraflarda masalan qilmasangiz o'sha paragraflarda nima desa bo'ladi buni? Paragraflarni tugatib, hamma narsani tugatgandan keyin tekstni bir marta o'qib chiqqandan keyin yana orqaga qaytsangiz, bu sizda qo'shimcha energiya va qo'shimcha vaqt talab qiladi. Shuning uchun ham birinchi navbatda savollarni o'qib olishimiz kerak. Keyin birinchi navbatda savollarni o'qib olamiz. The need for transport is growing despite technological developments. Demak, texnologik developmentlarga qaraganda qaramasdan transport uchun talab o'sib ketyapti. To reduce production cost, some industries have been moved closer to their relevant customers. Demak, bunda production cost tushirish uchun o'zini xaridorlarga yaqinroq joyga keltirgan ekan. Demak, ikkita savolga javob kelsa, javoblarni topishga harakat qilamiz. Endi biz headingga qaytishimiz kerak. Chunki bizning asosiy bu maqsadimiz yo'qda heading. Keling, headingni birinchidan. Xo'p, endi o'qiymiz. It's difficult to conceive of vigorous economic growth without an efficient transport system. Also, modern information technologies can reduce the demand for physical transport by facilitating teleworking and teleservices. The requirement for transport continues to increase. Bu qismda birinchi savolimizga javob topdik, right? Two key factors behind this trend. Demak, bu trend orqasida ikkita faktor bor ekan. For passenger transport, the determining factor is spectacular growth in carriers. The number of cars in Europe saw an increase of 3 million cars each year. In the next decade, a further substantial increase in its fleet. Demak, bu qismda transportatsiya sistemasi o'sha texnologiyalarga qaramasdan o'sib kelib boryapti. Ikkita key factor bor ekan va passenger transportda growth in carriers, demak, mashinadan foydalanish o'sib ketibdi. Xo'p, rangni o'zgartirib olaman. I'll make it red. Red as hell. Xo'p, fresh important long-term goalni ko'rmadik. Charging for roads improving transport ko'rmadik. Changes affecting the distance haqida ko'rmadik. Taking all necessary steps to change transportni ko'rmadik. Environmental cost ko'rmadik. Escalating rail transport ko'rmadik umuman. Rapid growth of private transportni ko'rdik. Mana bu growth of car use bor, 3 millionta car bor. O'shuning uchun ham buni yozib qo'yishimiz mumkin. Masalan, 8 deb bunaqa qilamanda, yo bunaqa qilish shart emas, mana qilib qo'yamanda, 8 yozib qo'yaman. Demak, 8. Hozircha. Yana keyin variant bo'lsa yozamiz. Plans to develop ranger road yo'q. Restricting road use, charging policies yo'q. Alone the keyword bor. Transport trends awaiting European admission haqida ma'lumot yo'q. Lekin men bu troposont keywordga savol chiqdi. Chunki masalan, borga need for transport is growing despite technological development haqida ma'lumot bor. Masalan, demand for physical transport facilitating teleworking service requirement for continues to rise. Shunda javob ma'lumot borligi sababli buni true deb olamiz. Masalan, ikkinchi qismni kutamiz. Agar ikkinchi qismda javob bo'ladigan bo'lsa, zo'r, javob bo'lmaydigan bo'lsa ko'ramiz. Xo'p, keyingiga o'tamiz. As far as goods transport is concerned, growth is due to large extent to changes in the European economy and systems of production. In the last 20 years, its internal frontiers have been abolished. Euro has moved back from stock economy to flow economy. The phenomenon has been emphasized by the relocation of some industries move, particularly those which are labor intensive, reduce production costs even though the production site is hundreds or even thousands of kilometers away from the final assembly part or away from user. O'z ko'rganingdek 20 yil oxirgi 20 yil davomida industriyalar relocation bo'lgan ekan, labor intensive bo'lgani sababli production costni kamaytirish uchun o'zini xaridordan uzoqda bo'lsa ham demoqchimda closer to their relevant customers emas, farther from relevant customer bo'ladi. Shuning uchun ham buni false deb olamiz. Keyingi savollarni o'qishimiz kerak, chunki keyingi savollarni demak birinchi B ni topib olaylik. Bu qismda nima yozilgan ekan? Xo'p, fresh important haqida ko'rmadik, charging policy ni ko'rmadik. Distance mana bor, changes affecting distances maybe transport haqida ma'lumot bor. Masalan, thousands kilometers away dedi, bir narsa dedi. O'sha uchun ham 3 ni olish ehtimolimiz katta. 3 ni yozib qo'yaylikchi, birga bo'ladi. Masalan, aytishgan, masalan, production costni tushirish uchun moment. Yaxshi. Shu ishlab chiqarish kostini tushirish uchun, ishlab chiqarish narxini tushirish uchun xaridordan bo'lsa ham uzoq bo'lsa ham qo'yib tashladik deyishdi. Shu uchun ham shuni belgiladik. Xo'p, tekin olinsa bu yo'q. Hozircha yo'q. Xo'p, keyingisiga o'tamiz. Keyingi o'tishdan oldin men turfa fasod kiyim savollarni o'qishim kerak, chunki turfa fasod kiyimda hali keywordlarni bilmayman. O'qib olsam keyin bilaman. Hammasini o'qiyman, 24, 25, 26 ni hammasini o'qiyman-da, keyin bemalol hadinglarni bajarishim mumkin, chunki esimda qolganidan keyin u bo'lmaydi masalan. Shart bo'lmaydi qarash. Cars are prohibitively expensive in Euro candidate countries. Demak, Euro candidate kandidatlarda admissionlarda qani? Yo'q ekan hali. Unaqa davlatlarda, Euro davlatlarda qimmat ekan cars. Topishimiz kerak. Gothenburg European Council set up 30 years ago. Demak, Gothenburg European Council 30 yil oldin organizatsiya qilingan ekan. By the end of this decade, CO2 emissions from transport are predicted to reach this number. Demak, o'qisunda CO2 muhim ahamiyatga ega, European Community Council muhim ahamiyatga ega, candidate countryda muhim ahamiyatga ega bo'ldi. Keyingisiga o'tamiz. Xo'p, mayli, topaylikchi. The strong economic growth expected in countries which are candidates. Where are candidates? Candidates. For the entry to European Union will also increase transport flows. Entry to Euro will also increase transport flows. Xo'p. In particular, road haulage traffic. In 1998, some of these countries already exported more than twice their 1990 volumes and imported more than 5 times their 1990 volume. Also, many candidate countries inherited a transport system which encouraged rail. Distribution between modes has tipped sharply in favor of road transport since this year. Between this and this, blah 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 blah. This could benefit a large EU. It's still on average at much higher levels than existing member states. Shu rail haulage qisqardi, bir narsa bo'ldi debdi. Xo'p, bu qismda prohibitively naqa degani yo'q. Expensive degani yo'q, lekin bu yerda Gothenburg haqida ma'lumot berilgan ekan. Demak, bu haqida ma'lumotni deyda olar ekanmiz. 24 javobi katta ehtimollik bilan not given. Shu keyingiga o'tamiz. Xo'p. Bu nima haqida edi? Bu European Community kirish niyatida yurgan davlatlardagi trendlar edi. Qisqasi, import eksportlari ko'payib ketdi dedi. Undan tashqari bir narsalar dedi yana. Qisqasi nimalar dedi? Nimalar degani, road transport kuchayib ketdi dedi. Bo'ldi. Unaqa o'tirganmiz. Menga bu qolmayroq ekan. I'm sorry guys. Xo'p, long term goalni ko'rmadim. Buni ko'rmadim. Escalating, xo'p, rail transport bor edi, lekin escalating cost yo'q edi rail transportda. Private transportda ishlatdik-da, mana o'chib tashladi. Xo'p, major road network ko'rmadim, restricting road network ko'rmadim. Transport countries awaiting European Union'ni qabulini, European Union ularni qabul qilishini kutayotgan davlatlardagi transport trendlarini olar ekanmiz demak. 11-javob bo'lar ekan demak. 11 qila olamiz. Shu bilan bu o'z nihoyasiga yetadi. Rangini o'zgartira olaman men. Xo'p. Keyingisiga o'tamiz. However, a new imperative, sustainable development, offers an opportunity for adapting European transport policies. This objective agreed by this Council has to be achieved by integrating environmental concentration into policies. Shifting the balance between modes of transport lies at the heart of strategy. The ambitious project can only be fully achieved by 2020, but the proposed measures are nonetheless a first essential step towards a sustainable transport system which will be ideally in place 30 years time. Demek bu long term planga o'xshayapti. 2040da deyapti-da. Demak, bu qismda planimiz bor. Sustainable development qilishimiz kerak, hozirdan boshlashimiz kerak, environmental considerationni ko'rishimiz kerak. 20-yilda achieve qilinadi, lekin 2040-yilgacha ideally in place bo'ladi debdi. O'sha uchun ham fresh long term important goal juda ham menga yaxshi tuyuldi. Burni olib turaman hozircha. Keyingidan ko'rib chiqaman. Charging ko'rmadim. Change transport patterns. Demak, bu usulda change transport patterns bor, lekin all necessary step haqida ma'lumot yo'q. Hozircha o'qimadim. Hali hech qanaqa steplarni. Environment haqida o'qimadim, escalating cost haqida o'qimadim. Rail transport haqida o'qimadim-da. Rapid growth buni o'qiganmiz. Plans to develop major road networks haqida o'qimadim. Faqatgina transport methodni o'qidim. Faqatgina o'zgina restricting code'ni o'qimadim hozircha. Xo'p, shu bilan tugaydi. Gutenberg haqida ma'lumot bor edi u yerda. Xo'p. Gutenberg European was set up 30 years ago. Demak, bu qismda haqida ma'lumot yo'q. 30 yilda bunaqa bo'ladi degan ma'lumot yo'q. Qachon set up qilingani haqida. O'sha uchun buni ham notga olamiz. Lekin g'alati bo'ldi, lekin ikki marta notga bo'ldi. Balki, lekin anamiz yo'q. We cannot do anything. We cannot do anything. So, what can you do with this information? No, nothing. You cannot do anything. Why is it like strange? Okay. Anaqa qilish kerak ekan. Yeah, it helped. Xo'p, endi o'qiymiz. Your energy consumption. CO2 here javobimiz chiqargan bu qismda javobimiz chiqargan. Xo'p, e'tiborli bo'lamiz. Xo'p, energy consumption in the transport sector was to blame for 20% your emissions leading greenhouse gases. According to the latest estimates, if nothing is done to reverse the traffic growth, emissions from transport can be expected to increase by 50% by 2020 compared to this in 1999. To'xtanglar. Bu decadening oxiriga borib 739 bo'ladi deyishgan, lekin 90-yilda 709 bo'lgan, 2020-yilda mana bunaqa bo'lar ekan. Demak, bu qismda javobimiz false bo'ladi. Demak, true, false, not given, false bo'ldi. Bu qism tugadi. Bu qismdan ko'nglimiz to'ldi endi. Endi oxiriga o'qiymiz. Once again, road transport is the main corporate sense. It's around the cost for diseases, emissions, using alternative fuels, improving energy efficiency is just both an ecological necessity and technological challenge. Bu qismda ekologiya haqida ma'lumot berilgan. Ekologiya degan ma'lumotimiz bor. Ekologiya degan mavzumuz bor edi. Bu qismda ekologiya degan qayerda ekologiya? Mana environmental cost bor. Shuning uchun bin olamiz. A5 ni olamiz degan 5 olamiz. 5 olamiz. Xo'p, bu 5 ketdi, demak 5 ketdi. Qarasangiz, masalan, bu yerda ozgina xatirlik bo'lgan F ketgan, mana F o'chirib tashlaymiz. O'qimaymiz F. Nima qilamiz o'qib? Kerak emas bizga F. Umuman kerak emas, masalan, musor narsa. Hech kerak emas. Xo'p, rangni o'zgartirib olishimiz kerak endi. Ketdik, davom etamiz. The first approach would consist on focusing on road transport solely through pricing. Demak, bu qismda birinchi o'zgartirishga harakat qilingan approach, demak, podxod faqatgina pricingga aniq qilar ekan, fokus qilar ekan. Pricing. His option would not be accompanied by complementary measures in other modes of transport. In short term, it might curb the growth in road transport through the better loading ratios of goods vehicles, compensate rates, blah blah blah. However, the lack of measures available to revitalize other modes of transport would make it impossible for more sustainable modes of transport to take up the baton, whatever it is. Xo'p, ko'ramiz, charging roads bor, improving other transport methodlari yo'q, boshqa anaqa ish qilmaymiz degan. Taking all necessary steps yo'q, essential escalating cost haqida umuman yo'q. Plans to develop haqida ma'lumot yo'q, restricting road use through charging policies. Alone haqida ma'lumot bor, bu qismga qarang, alone is charging. Restricting. Bu qismda ma'lumot berilgan. Mana first approach focusing on road transport solely through pricing. Demak, bu qismda charging bor, pricing solely bor, alone restricting road use ma'lumot bor, road transport haqida ma'lumot bor. Shuning uchun ham bunda 10 olar ekanmiz. 10 olar ekanmiz. Xo'p, 10 olaylik, nima qilamiz boshqa? Keyingisiga o'tamiz. The second approach also concentrates on road transport pricing, but is accompanied by measures to increase efficiency of other modes, better quality services, logistics, and technology. However, this approach doesn't include investment in new infrastructure. Doesn't include investment in new infrastructure, nor does it guarantee better regional cohesion. It could help to achieve greater uncoupling to the first approach, but road transport would give it the lion's share of the market to continue to concentrate on saturated arteries despite being the most polluting of the mode. Not enough to guarantee the necessary shift of balance. Demoqsimda nima qilingan ekan? Pricing ham qilar ekan, boshqa efficiency, boshqa metodlarni ham, modelarni ham efficiencyni ko'tarar ekan. Quality of service, logistics, technology. Charging for roads, improving other transport methods bor. Masalan, other modes, other methodni sinonim bo'ladi. Shuning uchun ham ikki ehtimoliyat juda ham katta olishimizda. Ikkini olib turamiz hozircha. Qaraymiz, 2 bor, 4 bor. Unnecessary step maybe. Xo'p, 4 emas qo'ydik. Nimaga? 4 emas qo'ydik. Bittasi qo'y, 4. Xo'p. Lekin 2ni o'chiraman. 4 ham o'chiraman, whatever. Escalating cost o'qimadim, plans development o'qimadim. Keyingisi. The third approach, which is not new, comprises a series of measures ranging from pricing to revitalizing alternative modes of transport, targeting investment in the trans-European network. This integrated approach would allow the market share of other transport modes to return to their 1998 levels, make a shift of balance. It's more ambitious than it looks, bearing in mind historical imbalance of air, blah 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 blah. Demoqsimda, plans to develop major road network haqida ma'lumot yo'q. Demak, bu roaddan o'zi chiqib ketishga harakat qilishyapti bular. Escalating cost of rail haqida umuman ma'lumot yo'q. Mana bu haqida ma'lumot bor. Barcha necessary steplar, integrated approach berilgan, series of measures berilgan. Shuning uchun ham men bunda to'g'rini olishga qaror qildim. Bu to'g'rini o'chirib qo'yamiz, yoki to'g'ri yozib qo'yamiz. Shu bilan true false keyin ham qildik, buni ham qildik, hammasini qildik. Hammasi sizlarga tushunarli bo'lgan degan umiddaman. Agar muammo bo'lgan bo'lsa, kommentarda qoldirishinglar mumkin. Shu bilan bugungi darsimiz o'z nihoyasiga yetadi. Everyone, bye. See you next year.